boxers from Coventry, it's like they'll get to a certain point, and whether it's who they hang around with, or whether it's the right guidance with the teams and stuff like that, but then it's like they always tend to reach a ceiling, whereas I want to break through that ceiling, and I've always believed since I've been there that Dom will be the one to help me achieve that. And
comparison's a very dangerous thing on social media, right? You need to be able to detach from it and know its little highlights.
It's a better performance each time, and I do believe that, and that's all down to learning and just sticking to the process. You do go through the amateurs fighting top level kids, and then it's like you turn professional, and then you start out all over again. Yeah. Here I am today. I think it's 4 or 5 years, nearly 5 years deep as a professional. As you said then, 15 fights in, and I believe I'm just getting started, really.
Welcome back to Below the Belt podcast. If there is one thing that I love doing on this podcast, it's promoting local talent from the Midlands. And it's a pleasure to introduce you to the new Commonwealth international champion, Brad Goldsmith. How you doing, mate?
Make one start shadow boxing. I'm very well, mate. Thank you. Yourself?
Yes, all good, mate. All good. As you can see, we've got the bout just behind you
in all its glory.
Yes, mate. Yes, it looks like a nice bout. So how was that? You won that on the home show in Coventry. There's a big boxing crowd there. How did you find it? It must have been a special moment winning it in your hometown.
Yeah, more so the fact that it was my second chance at winning a title as a professional.
Yeah.
So, and like you say, to do it close to home in front of hundreds of people that come out and support me, and in the fashion that I did as well, with the performance and whatever else. But yeah, to round it off, just very, very special, mate. Something that can now never be taken away from me in sense of like the memories and the joy it brought to me and people around me. But yeah, very, very special.
How were the nerves before the night? Obviously, you've been a professional boxer for some time now, and I think you've got a fantastic record. It's around 15 wins, 10 by knockout, I believe, and just the one loss. So you built up a good, solid foundation there, but then bringing that back to your hometown, because obviously you're based in Sheffield, which we'll come on to talk about. Were the nerves heightened coming back to fight in Coventry, especially for a title? And I believe your opponent was a very well-schooled, durable, competitive boxer. So what were the nerves like?
I'll be honest, for the first time in a while, I didn't really feel that nervous. Of course, there were nerves there. I've always said as soon as the nerves stop, it's a sport or game where you should be nervous. You need to be nervous to get up for it. So, but I've learned to turn it into excitement, really, and thrive off that. Build up off that and take it in the ring with me, which I believe I did. As you touched on there, it was a tough, durable opponent. Someone who I knew was coming to win. Someone who's never been stopped before either, who's been in with some big names, former Olympians, British champions, and he's a former title. I think he was a title holder for the Southern area as well, maybe title challenger. So good name on the resume, and as I said, the performance kind of spoke for itself.
Yeah, I think he's a well-known name in the boxing circle, right, as being a very durable, competitive opponent, and to have that on your CV now, and you stopped him in the eighth, was it?
Yeah.
In the
Someone
eighth.
said the ninth, but I'm pretty sure it was.
I'm pretty sure it's the eighth. Yeah, all becomes a bit of a blur, right?
It does.
But that's quite a statement, right? Would you say that's your career best performance? Would you say?
I wouldn't know really, because I'm always like a critic. So like for me, it's like, okay, yeah, it was good, but I was doing this.
Yeah.
Okay, this last fight, I was doing this really good, but I did this. So it was definitely like a standout performance in the sense of I did what I had to do and probably a little bit more by getting the stoppage and like in the fashion I did. But it's a better performance each time, and I do believe that. And that's all down to learning and just sticking to the process.
And obviously, I opened the podcast saying, obviously, I love promoting the local talent, especially from Coventry. Obviously, you just fought in Coventry. for the title. But we spoke just a little bit off camera just then about your amateur career. You had kind of over 80 amateur bouts, so you had that good kind of amateur pedigree behind you. And if I'm not mistaken, you boxed for Triumph.
Triumph.
Amateur boxing club.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the amateurs and why was it that you then decided to take the step up to the pro game? Was it always the idea to do that, or did you start to see that I might have something here? I want to really test myself and do something in the pros now. What was the thought process?
I'd be lying if I said, as soon as I turned amateur, I was like, right, I'm going to turn professional. I'm going to be a world champion. I'm going to do this, this, and this, because I'll be honest, it didn't actually cross my mind. I think I had my first fight at 11. No, sorry, it was definitely 11 because you couldn't do it.
You can't do it at 10, right?
Any young. I think it's skills bouts now.
Skills
at 10,
bout
maybe.
at 10,
but
yeah.
so I had my first fight at 11, and then 11 all the way up until 21 was my fighting career as an amateur, essentially. And along the way I picked up national titles, box cup golds, and like numerous little tournaments and whatever. But it probably wasn't until I got to, I'd say probably like 16, 17, where it's like you used to go to competitions or championships and like you'd like look out for the names of like who you knew was good. And then it kind of got to the point where, because I was picking up wins and I was beating, good kids on paper, I then all of a sudden turned into one of the people who people would look at in the weight category and be like, oh, Brad's in it. And
they'd raise it another
10, So I'd kind of get compared that way. And then you can only start thinking, okay, maybe I am pretty good at this. And, stuck to it, stayed disciplined and dedicated over the years that were probably most challenging growing up with, as kind of what you said off camera, with the girls, drinking, going out, friends, who do you knock around with.
Plays a big part though, right?
Oh, 100%.
You become 100%. Your circle at the end of the day. So I think if you get to the point even you're at now, you've done really well. So.
Yeah, I mean...
Was it tough to stay away from the distractions?
To be fair, no, because I'm not very easily led, and I've always hung around with like-minded people or individuals, and and with that they've always understood what I do and what I do it for. So I've never been pushed into things that I don't want to do. If I can't, let's say I can't go out because of boxing, it's never, oh, you'll be all right. It's okay, mate.
You knew what you wanted, I think, as well, right?
Yeah. And then it was kind of like, right, okay, you get into an age now where like amateurs a bit, it's kind of the same thing, you get into championships, you get to a certain point, and then it's like, right, okay, then you go into England, and then it was like, am I too old to then go try to get on GB? Because you got the young killers coming through, and I really wanted a shot, or like one last shot at winning the ABA title. And it was the year COVID was here, so I think the championships were supposed to start on the Saturday, and we got locked down on the Tuesday.
Oh, jeez.
So but that year, missed all of the December, so all my Christmas. Trained January, February, then of course, whenever it was, we obviously got shut down. So it was a bit of a kick in the nuts. And then I kind of said to myself after that, am I really going to wait another God knows how long?
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So I started, just going to some other gyms, getting some sparring in, and
So dedicated throughout the whole of COVID with your training and sparring.
Yeah. Do you know what? I mean, not a lot of people will say it, but COVID was actually a really good time for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've got photos on, my social media and stuff like that of videos of workouts that I used to do, and, the runs I used to do. Fortunately, I think because it got to a certain point where professional athletes, although I wasn't on paper professional, but I was a full-time athlete at that time. So we could still go to gyms. Gyms were still open towards the back end of it. And I kind of looked at it and I was like, right, well, I'm in this position now. I've just got to go for it and see where I end up essentially. And here I am today. I think it's 4 or 5 years, nearly 5 years deep as a professional. As you said then, 15 fights in, and I believe I'm just getting started. Really, it's in my mind. I'm just getting started because I feel like I'm learning and developing each fight.
Yeah, of course. And I think as part of that learning and development you've just mentioned, you had an interesting link up with Dom Ingle in the Ingle Gym in Sheffield. How did that even come about from yourself being here in Coventry and Dom in Sheffield? How did that happen? Did you reach out to Dom?
Nah, sorry to
No, go on.
interrupt. So people would probably never guess or never know, but a good. I mean, I could go. When you go down the road of my friends, sisters, brothers, babysitter.
So one of them, is it?
It's a friend conveniently who's from Coventry. My good friend Kirk. He's. I wouldn't necessarily say he knew Dom a lot, but he's been to a couple of functions in the past that Dom's been at, and they've always kept in touch over social media. And Kirk's into bodybuilding, weightlifting.
Kirk Miller, by
Yes,
any chance?
yes.
I've seen him.
Yeah. So
Trains at Apollo as well, doesn't he? I think
when he comes down,
he's back in
when he
Cov.
comes down.
Yeah.
So and so him and Dom, I've always kept in touch. And basically, my partner's stepdad, he's on Kirk's program, so he's been friends with Kirk for I think nearly 10 years now.
Yeah.
And he basically spoke to Kirk. He basically reached out to Dom and said, "Look, I've got a friend. He's looking at turning professional. Doesn't really know where he's at, what to do, how to go about it. Can you help out?" And I think he must have done that on, let's say, a Friday afternoon. He texted me on, I think Kirk texted me on, say, the Sunday and said, "Whatever you're doing Tuesday, cancel it." I said, like, what? He said, "You're going to Sheffield." I was like, right, okay, cool.
Yeah.
What time, where, when?
Yeah.
Turned up. My first session, I remember I walked in the gym. Dom said, "You all right, Brad? Nice to meet you. Da-da-da.
Yeah.
Have you got your sparring gear?" I said, yeah. You went, "Go on, then, go get ready."
Straight in there.
Right, okay, yeah, sound, warmed up, head guard on, all
Honestly,
this
is
and
that what it was?
Yeah,
Straight
yeah,
in there.
jumps in
Is
the
it because
ring.
you wanted to see what you had, or?
Yeah, probably. It's probably like a good way to to gauge if I'm any good. And then you know what, I jumped in the ring and I think I did 3 or 4 rounds with Bradley Skeet, who's a
So he didn't put you in there with just anyone, did he?
nah,
He's a former British champion, isn't he? I think, Bradley Skeet,
outright. Good friend of mine as well, Brad. And at the time, I did actually used to watch Brad as well. So
I watched a few of his fights. Yeah.
So I was a bit like, but it was one of those where you didn't have, in that moment, you didn't have time to think. It was just like, right, okay, let's just roll with it. Like, let's just try and impress. Let's just do what we do. And, sparred well, jumped out, had a chat and just kind of like a smidgen of insight of, what the pro game's like and what to expect, what to do, etc., etc. And I was like, listening. So I said, right, okay, like, what's the next step kind of thing? And then he said, "I'll see you Thursday." I was like, all right, cool. And then it was just kind of like, that's just how it went. Yeah. And then
it just snowballed into you.
Yeah. So just like you say, at first I started, I was commuting there 3-4 times a week, up and down every morning. Yeah.
It's done a lot of mileage.
Yeah. It's 93 miles door to door.
Yeah.
So I was doing that for a while and then managed to, thankfully, down to one of my sponsors. He managed to bung me up to be able to afford to live there. So then I moved into a house there. I'm now on my 4th house up in Sheffield.
Really?
Yeah. So been travelling about up there.
Yeah.
And it all
What's the reason for that you've
just like people changing, people leaving.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
One place not suiting. I mean, they're all like local to the gym, so it's not too bad. But yeah,
how'd you find it up there? Because I know boxing's a lonely sport as it is, and being up in Sheffield, away from family, away from friends, does it get lonely? Is it?
Yeah, of
do
course.
you need it though?
Yeah, it's. I mean, and it's something that Dom's always said as well. It's like being up here or being in a camp it is like prison, and it should be like prison. You don't need no outside noise. And when I say like, my house is here and the gym's here.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, and we literally, I get up, I
walk out the door and you're in the gym.
Go to the gym, train, come back, I rest.
Yeah.
Get up, eat, train.
How many times a day are you training?
Twice a day. Twice a day. Then obviously course with like your walks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's taxing, but yeah, I just love it.
It's a sacrifice, right?
Yeah, and there's always been like a common trend in boxers from Coventry. It's like they'll get to a certain point, and whether it's who they hang around with, or whether it's the right guidance with the teams and stuff like that. But then it's like they always tend to reach a ceiling. Whereas I want to break through that ceiling, and I've always believed since I've been there that Dom will be the one to help me achieve that, and he's proven that he is so far. So.
And what do you think that difference, this is going to make you different from the other boxers in Coventry or from the Midlands that will help you push through that ceiling, which other boxers seem to hit quite regularly?
In my opinion, there's a couple of things. There's the guidance for, like, first of all, you need to have someone who's experienced, who knows what they're doing, who's got your best interests. And obviously me as an individual, it's ultimately it's down to me to not go down the wrong path, to not say yes to things I shouldn't, to not mess around or anything like that. So they're the two things that I would say. I know that's people will probably be thinking like, oh yeah, that's obvious, but it's probably harder than what you think.
I can imagine that it is. But do you know what? I spoke to a few people before this podcast, and I mentioned that I was getting yourself on. Obviously, you're well known around Coventry, especially in the boxing circles. And I kind of asked them what they thought of you as a boxer, and they said, "Oh, we know you were known as being quite a pressure fighter, I think, in the amateurs, if I'm not mistaken." So just in my head, I was trying to put it all together. Obviously, moving to a gym in Sheffield, like the Ingle Gym, working with Dom. It's quite stylistically, I was trying to work out the match because that's quite a flair style, isn't it? Very kind of fluent, footwork based. What made you think that was going to be the best style for you? Is it a nice fit? Did you have to adapt quite a bit to that style?
It's one of those, and it kind of covers what I was talking about having the right guidance. Now, you are right in what you're saying, of course, like the gym's known for its footwork and the flamboyancy and et cetera, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone who walks through the door can only get taught that way, and as I said, I'd walked into that gym not as like a novice. Essentially, I was a well-seasoned boxer. I just needed to be tweaked on a few things. So rather than Dom going, oh no, because you can't switch, I'm not going to give you a look in. He's just made what I'm good at better.
Has he been teaching you to switch it as well?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Have you ever switched it before you went there, or?
Maybe like accidentally or something, if I was like panicking, or when I was a novice and I just did it to try it. But no, I mean it's a good little
gets the brain working.
Right? It's a good addition to have, and as you say, like in boxing, you never stop learning. So people would have probably walked into that gym going, no, like I know everything. This is how I fight, etc., etc. Whereas like you get put on those lines and you're up and down, up and down, up and down, and you soon come to you soon get your head around it and practice. I'm no fantastic switch hitter, but I can do it if I need to. It's there for me to get out of trouble, and it's there for when I catch someone off guard. So
they just released not long ago, and I went to watch it at the cinema with my wife. The
Giant,
Giant, the film with Brendan and Naz. So it's obviously centered on their relationship, but it showed you a bit of what goes on in the gym, and it seemed very methodical and purpose based. The way that things used to happen in that gym, and they do certain things for a very specific reason. Is it a gym like that at the moment? Is it very methodical? Were there things that you had to kind of unlearn? Did it take a while to adapt, or
no? Not really. Especially when in my amateur gym, the training there was methodical. Like boxing is methodical.
it is?
In my opinion, it's only really changed now because of social media and people's brains can get carried away with them because you could be doing something perfectly fine. You could watch a video, or I could watch a video of you doing something a little bit different, and then all of a sudden my brain tells me I need to do what you're doing. You don't.
Comparison's a very dangerous thing on
it's
social media, right? You
yeah,
need to be able to detach from it and know its little highlights.
it's it is horrendous, to be honest. But
Yeah,
going back to your question, it's like, say methodical, like yes, repetitive, yes, but that's
the
boxing.
repetitiveness is key in
That is
boxing, I
boxing,
think,
yeah.
right? Yeah,
You can't just you can't you can't practice throwing a jab 10 times and think I've got
yeah,
it.
yeah. Move
You
on.
know,
Yeah,
yeah. You need to be repetitive with that. You need to focus in on doing that, and then once you've got it that way, right? Okay, how can I throw it from a different angle now? How can I throw it without the opponent noticing as much? How can I throw a feint in there? You never stop learning.
100%. And do you know what? I think of all the punches from when I used to box, the one that I favoured the most was the jab because it was drilled into me. How it is probably the most important punch in boxing. But one thing that I say to a lot of people is, also I've done a little bit of coaching as well, is there's probably thousands of intricacies when you're throwing just a jab that you have to think about. Like you said, whether it be the angle, whether it be the slip, whether it be the footwork. Yeah, there's
Is it
so
something
many
coming back?
different things.
It's
Exactly.
never ending.
Exactly. Something which the casual boxing fan would think it's just a jab. The jab, there's a lot that goes into just throwing a single punch. But one thing that has always really interested me, probably from when I saw Cal Brook doing the pads with Dom, he's got a very unique style of doing pad work, Dom, and I've always been fascinated by it, whether there's a particular reason, because it seems very quick, pitter patter punches, but obviously, like I said, it's done for a particular reason. It seems very, you have to be very sharp, and there's a lot of punches being thrown. Is there a reason for his pad work being like that?
I don't actually know the answer to that.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's
Is it just the way he does it and the way the gym does it?
That's just no. To be fair, so you've got Dom who does it that way, who's got numerous shots that he'll say by numbers or by like a sequence. You've got the standard shots in the gym: 1 shot, 2 shot, 3 shot, all the way up to 8.
Yeah.
And then you've got like spin-offs from that.
Yeah.
And then you've got young Luca who's coming through now. He's like almost in charge of the gym. He runs the amateurs, helps a lot of the pros out as well. He's got his little twist. His dad John, back when he used to train, he had his little twist.
It's very personable to Dom them.
It's almost like Brendan like painted the way.
Yeah.
And then the lads have almost like caved their own paths.
Yeah.
But ultimately they all go to the same place. That's like that's the kind of way that I see it, and it works. It's very efficient, and it always keeps hair working.
Okay.
So
interesting.
But it is very different, yeah.
Tell me what a regular day in camp in Sheffield looks like.
I'm probably one of the most regimented, routine-driven person you'll speak to. So like,
that's a good thing though. I think routine, structure.
Yeah. It is when it needs to be, but when I need to tell myself to chill out and I can't, that's when it probably can be a bit of a problem. But so wake up, I'd say naturally, which is probably, for me, it's anywhere from 6 and half 6. That's just automatic like body clock. As of recent, I don't really like going on my phone for the first half an hour just because it can fry your head. It can start you off on a bad mood.
Doing all the good stuff, mate. Saying all the right things.
Yeah. And I'm not just saying it for the camera, like people, like my missus will vouch for me. Get up, hydrate. Sorry, first thing I do is check my weight.
Yeah.
Or go for a wee, check my weight.
Is that even when you're out of camp?
Yeah. So like I keep like a chart in my notes when I'm not out of camp, and then when I'm in camp with my nutritionist, I've got a sheet that I put it in every morning.
Yeah.
So, so check weight, hydrate, sit down, chill out, have my breakfast. After my breakfast, I do the same loop in Sheffield every single morning. It's like 2.39k to be precise. I get back, have a coffee, pack my bag for the gym, go to the gym, train. That can be, some days it can be an hour, some days it can be 2 hours, hour and a half. Depends what we've got on, what we're doing. Sessions in the morning can vary from sparring, pads, steppers, circuits, stuff like that. And then I'll give you my Monday breakdown, because Monday's different, because Monday's when we've got to go food shopping. So go do the food shop for the week, you know, get all the stuff that we need.
Yeah.
Come back, by then it's probably about lunchtime. After lunch, little walk to help the food digest, rest for an hour or so, back in the gym. And in the evening, that can be an S&C session, a run, or if it could even be sparring if we've got people coming in to spar at night. So you do your training, come back, shower, make food, put something on TV for half an hour, go to bed.
Day's gone just like that.
And it's just, it's like, again, but like even that's methodical. And like, it may sound sad, but I could tell you my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And as soon as I go out of that for like more than 2 days, I'm like, you know, the cogs start.
Do you know what? I'll be honest. I need routine and structure in my
Yeah,
life. I think it's a good thing for anyone
100%.
to have, really, as you kind of feel yourself floating through life a little bit. I think having that routine and structure can be a really good thing. And it, like you said, it keeps you regimented, it keeps you on it keeps you sharp.
And it takes out the guesswork for me. So it's like, if I know what I'm doing, then it's like,
there's purpose
then
behind.
it's sound, yeah. Obviously, my gym sessions change, but like that's not a problem because I know, as long as I know like I'm training, then it's like, okay, like, oh, I've got to run, no problem. Like, oh, I've got sparring, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
You know, so. But it's only really been like the last 2 or 3 years that I've really like homed in on, you know, setting up and doing the things that like I need to do, or like I may not think at the time matter. But over like a long course of like duration,
of course.
It does.
And you just mentioned sparring a couple of times there as well. Obviously, you must have done a fair bit now that you're what, 5 years deep into the pro game. Who would you say has been the toughest spar that you've had?
I'd probably say Cal.
Yeah. Oh, have you sparred Cal as well?
Yeah, I sparred Cal twice this week, to be honest.
Have you?
Yeah.
Is he still keeping?
Yeah, he's still in the
active
gym.
there?
Yeah, he's still in the gym. He was supposed to fight in February.
Yeah.
Then it got pushed back to April. And then with all the stuff that was going on.
Is this a pro fight?
Yeah, it was supposed to be in Dubai, and then obviously with all the stuff going on in the world.
Something. Yeah.
So it's now been pushed to July in Manchester. So
who's he meant to be fighting? You got any
someone from Dubai?
Okay,
so,
you got any exclusives for us? Or
yeah.
Is that what he?
Well, his name's Issa. That's
Okay,
that's all I really know. So yeah, so he's been in the gym. You know, we've just been. We were in Fuerteventura we did 3 weeks. We did 3 weeks over there.
What's the reason for the camps in that gym? They do a lot of camps in.
Just to kind of switch things up, mate.
Yeah.
Really, you know, Sheffield in the winter is not the happiest of places.
I don't blame you for going there, mate.
Yeah, so it's not the happiest of places in the winter.
Yeah.
So just to kind of break things up, bit of sunshine, although the sun wasn't shining so much when we were there, but bit of sunshine. We know, again, like routine.
Yeah.
It's like, we know where's good to eat. We know where we can go. We know what the bike ride routes are, and stuff like that. So it kind of, I mean, Dom's been going way longer than what I have, but you know, I've been going for a good few years myself.
Yeah, I think I remember it. And yeah, how they had the build up to the fights, like when Cal used to fight.
Yeah, so
I used to see them years ago.
I was actually
going
there
as well.
for the. So I was over there for the Khan fight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Were you with the gym at that point?
Yeah.
You were.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So we did. I think I did about 3 weeks then as well.
Okay.
So it's
must be a great
experiences, mate. You can't buy it. You can't buy it.
Yeah. So how did you do against Cal? Did you give him a good run for your money?
Well, if I compare it to when I first started, you know, that's how I kind of gauge my development.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like in the beginning, I got out and be like, what day is it, kind of thing, or you know what happened there. Whereas
was it a bit starstruck to be in there sparring him, or did you feel like you belonged?
I feel like it's weird to say because I'm not really like that in the sense of, I mean, I'd say.
You're not a type of person that idolises and you're like, oh,
no, I'm not even in like a cocky way. I've just never really been like that.
Yeah.
But of course, I obviously remember watching Cal on TV, you know, Sky Sports Box Office and all that kind of stuff. So I have watched Cal for many, many years. So when I did obviously join the gym, it was a bit like a full circle moment in the sense of, wow, like I used to watch, you know, I used to watch you on TV, and then for my title fight, he come down and watched me, you know. So that's also nice as well, you know, to have that side.
Yeah. What's your relationship like with Dom? Like you just spoke about how you actually came to be matched with him in the gym, and you turned up, you sparred. He doesn't like a lot of boxing coaches. They're probably not very personable. Yeah, very
Sorry,
straight.
no. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's better.
honestly, I guess that's how it is with a lot of boxing coaches. Perhaps
That's
changing in this modern era, but I think
it's probably the way to be. You
mm,
know, because you don't want to. You know,
mix things
we're
up,
obviously our
right?
friends. You
Mm,
know, and I've been there. You know, quite a
mm,
while now, and I've slotted in nice
mm,
to the environment, and
mm,
but there is always that. You know, like I don't phone him on the weekend and be like, "Yo, mate, how you getting on?"
mm.
You know, it's not that relationship. It's
Strictly
like,
business.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You both got
coach
a
and
job to
boxer,
do,
coach
which
and
is what you
boxer.
both want to get out of it,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
definitely. But like,
Yeah,
if you wanted to go for a coffee, then we'd go. Then
yeah,
we'd be able to go for a coffee. It's not like it's not pally pally. I would never want it like that, and neither
yeah,
would he. So,
yeah,
but we've got a very good understanding of each other.
yeah.
That's what I
No,
can say on that.
that's good to hear because yeah, like I said, I know with a lot of coaches in this modern era, start mixing a lot of business and pleasure, right?
Yeah, and you
They
don't want
like
to mix it. Yeah,
building friendships with their
sometimes it
boxers.
works for people. You know, sometimes it works for people, but
Yeah.
in this case, no.
Ah, interesting. One of the things that I wanted to ask you about is something that I think must be really frustrating for boxers in this modern era is staying consistent when sometimes the opportunities aren't there. Because obviously, like you said, you were very active in the amateurs. I'm sure that's an adjustment going into the pro game where you're looking for the right fights at the right time, but also again wanting to stay active. But thing, a lot of pieces of the puzzle need to fit at the same time, right? So how do you manage to stay consistent and disciplined? Because have there been times where fights have fouled through, or well, to be fair, like you just spoke about COVID, right? You managed to stay disciplined. Is it the same kind of principles then? Would you say?
Yeah, you just first of all, you have to ask yourself how bad you want it.
Mm,
You know, do you really want it, or like what
mm,
do you want out of it, and then assess what you're doing. And it's like if you're not getting the results or getting where you need to be, then something needs to change.
mm.
But for me, it's more the case of
Has it
I'm
been
not.
difficult
Yeah,
matching you? Sorry to interrupt.
no, no. I wouldn't necessarily say difficult matching me. What a lot of people don't understand: boxing's a business,
Yeah.
and fighters are fighters.
Mm,
So if you sat down 10 boxers in the middleweight division and you said you've all got to fight each other,
mm,
they'll all go, yeah, all right.
yeah.
You then bring your manager and your coach into it, and you go, right, we've all got to fight each other, and it's like, right, okay, I want this much, or I want that much.
Mm,
If he beats me, if he beats my lad, he then can't go and fight that lad.
mm,
So everything has to make sense in
yeah.
the sense of like, you can't just take a fight, because I'm willing to take the fight. As I said, the fighters are willing to fight. Like, everyone's well aware of that, but it has to make good business sense.
Yeah.
So it may come across sometimes like, oh, like it is a slug. I mean, like, I know endless stories of fighters who have just been put on the shelf because they've been too dangerous, or they're in the
Yeah, it seems like a brutal
they're in like
political sport in that
they're in like the
sense.
who needs me club. So it's like,
Yeah.
right, okay, I fight you. You're a very, very tough fight,
Yeah.
and even if I beat you, what's the reward?
I think that,
Do you know what I mean?
funnily enough, you say that a few podcasts ago, I had Elliot Whale
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
on the podcast, and he kind of felt like that. I
I
think
know
he's
Elliot.
starting to get a couple of opportunities now, which I'm
Yeah,
glad. He's
he's flying now.
really nice guy. But he felt like he was kind of in that he literally said the words, "I'm in that who needs me club," because he goes, "I haven't got the biggest of fan bases. I'm a southpaw. I've got an awkward
Yeah,
style. So I probably won't bring the big numbers. So why will the bigger names want to fight me?"
it's like if you're sat, if you and him are sat here, you're an orthodox who's you've got the same record, but you're an orthodox. 9 times out of 10, another orthodox is going to pick you over the southpaw,
Yeah,
just because they can't be bothered to fight a southpaw.
yeah,
Do
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
So there's the disadvantage already. You know, so Elliot is right in exactly what he's saying. It's like sometimes people can fight people and it's like you can win, but then it'll be like, oh, but who is it? Or what do you get from it? Or like what comes off the back of that? You know, so it's not just a case of like in the amateur days where you'd be entering the championships, you'd get a draw, you'd have 10 people, me and you and him and
And it's just makes itself.
And then like you win it. It's like, oh, I've got so and so in the final. There's no, oh no, I'm not doing that. Can I fight him? It's just like, and that's why a lot of people find it frustrating, because it's like you do go through the amateurs fighting top level kids, and then it's like you turn professional and then you start out all over again. Yeah, so it's very but I've learned this along the way myself, you know. So, but fortunately, in like the reverse to what Elliot was saying, I've been very, very fortunate to, you know, to be able to sell tickets and, you know, build up a good fan base, and that's also an answer to your question prior. Along with me knowing how bad I want it, I also know how many people I've got who believe in me, like, behind me, and that extra like surge is just, you know, like, it is a bump me moment every time, knowing how many people, you know, come to pay and watch me. You know, like that's the top and bottom. And but not only that, my sponsors who I've had for years on end, who have backed me because they believe in what I can do.
Yeah.
I'd then be the idiot if I took what I did not very seriously. Company asked for this. Oh, I'm gonna miss training that day. Oh, I'm going to go out and eat.
You know, the responsibility on your shoulders.
Yeah. You know, and tie that in with how bad I want it. That's how you get the full article, I believe.
Do you think it's going to be difficult for you moving, because your record's starting to look pretty good now, and you're going to be are you looking to step up? What's the future plans? Are there any particular name? I know boxers don't like calling out names and things like that, but what do you want next? What do you want your next 2 or 3 fights?
So I said after the back end of last year, I mean, like, you talking about getting fights. So I was scheduled to fight last October. I think it was either end of September or October. So that was scheduled. The whole show then got postponed to the end of November. In the period from when it got postponed to the end of November, I went through 3 opponents. 1 pulled out. We got a replacement. He then pulled out. We got a replacement. You know, so that's how unpredictable it can be. And then I had a very good, you know, good strong performance last year. Got 8 valuable rounds under my belt. And this year I said to myself, I just want progression. Like I just want to progress. I said that to my team. Managed to get a title shot.
What's the weight class? Sorry,
middle. Yeah, so that's 160 £, 11 stone 6.
Who's the top British lads? And in
you got George Lillard, who's British champion. Kieran Conway on it. I think he's just gone up to super middle. Jimmy Sains. You got Felix Cash, who's just made a comeback last week.
Yeah, I just saw that. Yeah. He was actually my age group in the amateurs. I think I was 1 fight away from fighting him. Yeah.
You got another good southpaw, Tyler Denny. He's from Birmingham.
Yeah.
My friend Aaron Bowen.
Are you and Aaron the same weight class?
Yeah. Although he's probably he's quite a bit taller than me.
Yeah, he's a tall lad, isn't he?
Yeah, but
I don't know how he holds that bloody weight though.
I know. Yeah. Mental.
Did you ever meet in the amateurs, you and Aaron?
Nah, we.
Oh, you're in the same gym, aren't you?
We trained together for years, like so. Yeah. And then obviously both it's good really, because we both went off and, you know, both did our own thing once we left Triumph, and it's good to see that we're both still doing well in the sense of we're both doing what we set out to do. So
I think I might have just seen on my way up here that he's just been matched
just announced. Is
it Troy
Coleman,
he's
fighting. So he's fighting the kid that I boxed last April. Who stopped me? Yeah. So,
yeah.
So hopefully you can get him back for me, but yeah, I'll be rooting for him.
So that was your only defeat, though. That's a good point, actually. I just remember checking you on Box Rec as well. So now the name's coming back to me. But how did you find that when you suffered your first defeat? Did it feel like the world had come crashing down, or did you take it in your stride and you kept a level head, or how did you feel?
Your first thought is my world's over and this and that, but I think
Do you think that's because of the whole protecting your own thing in boxing at the moment?
not even that.
You just don't want any blips, do you?
Yeah, and it's probably harder to explain to to get people to understand. But it was more of like a pressure kind of thing.
I can imagine.
I probably put too much pressure on myself, and when you go into a fight and you have everyone telling you, you're gonna smash this kid, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. You kind of, when that doesn't happen, you then start doubting yourself, and and whatever. Albeit I was winning the fight and I was up on the cards. I just made a bit of a misjudgment on my end, and it was a costly mistake. But looking back, it's done me no harm. I'm in a fantastic position now, and
yeah, definitely.
And most importantly, I learned from it. I didn't go off track. I didn't go off the rails. I didn't.
It's good that you stayed focused, stayed disciplined.
Yeah.
I think that's a point where they say, if you can keep going where 99% of people would most likely quit or walk away, those are the few people that end up making it. So I think it's bang on that you've kept regimented, you kept on track, and you kept
probably
powering
got worse.
through. Yeah.
Probably got worse, yeah. But it's like, and boxing can be a very fickle sport. But as I said, very, very fortunately for me, it's like even after the loss, like I still had people behind me who were like with me still the whole way, and still believe and whatever else. So for that, I'll be eternally grateful. So.
Yeah, no, fair play, and everything happens for a reason. Like
exactly.
You said
yeah.
earlier,
Exactly.
Right? So maybe you needed that to tell yourself to take a bit of pressure off yourself, and to sometimes things happen which seem like the worst thing in the world at that moment in time, but there's a greater reason for it, and you can use it to get that extra step further in life or in boxing.
Well, you just go into your fights after that, knowing and saying
more grounded.
I'm not going to make that mistake again.
Yeah, and definitely.
I believe in the last.
It's better to happen now than for a world title fight.
Well,
right?
this is exactly it. It's better to make the mistakes, albeit it was still still a big fight and big occasion. So it wasn't ideal in that respect.
What was Dom's feedback on it when you had that first loss?
You've got two choices. You either pack in, or you just get back in the gym.
Could he tell you that was running through your mind?
No.
Is it just that you knew a lot of boxers would go to that place in their mind?
And as I kind of said to him, as he said to me after it, he's like, listen, Brad, I've been here 1,000 times, and he has, he's got stories for everything, that
I bet he has,
that are true, and experiences. It's just mind blowing. So again, like, you're gonna listen to someone like that rather than when when you see someone that like walking down the street, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that,
Do you get a lot of that?
I had that for a while.
You still get it now? So you got a lot of fans, especially if you've had a couple of drinks.
Yeah.
Oh, Brad, should throw the left up, mate.
Yeah.
Do you still get that?
Yeah, and then I think even going into this fight, people still had like doubts of like what happened in that fight.
Yeah.
But I even said to people after, hopefully now after my last 2-3 performances, you can all see that I've learned from that. What I've now done, since that, and where I'm at now. So
yeah, no, it's also interesting that you say that you and Aaron are the same weight class. I never knew that because, again, like you say, he's about 6 foot tall, but you never know. You both keep on winning, keep winning.
Yeah.
Give us a stadium fight at the Cobb Building Society. Big stadium fight. You never know, mate.
You never know.
Selling a point, yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. You'll be wanting some commission.
Yeah, mate. That's good stuff. It is good to see you both doing really well. Obviously, both at the same amateur club as well. You must have done a few rounds with each other as well, then.
Oh,
countless.
Yeah, countless. Yeah, countless. And it would always be the same. And if he listens to this, he'll probably laugh as well. And you know what? It's even the same that like now. I mean, we've sparred not recently, but within the last year or whatever. It's like, do you fancy a few steady ones? Like, son. Like the first one's always steady, and then it's like,
do you know what Elliot's?
And it picks up, and before you know it, we're like,
you're both trading.
We're getting out, and we're absolutely knackered. Like, yeah, that was good. That same again next week. Like, yeah, sound. So,
It's really funny because Elliot said the same thing. He's like, "Yeah, we're going to have a spar. We think it's going to be
Yeah,
a
you
technical
just,
spar." But he goes, "If you land that one punch on Aaron, he's
oh yeah,
fucking
head
red."
gone.
And then he goes,
Yeah,
"Then you're both just in a war,"
yeah.
which is quite similar to some of the fights that I've seen. I think the first fight that I went to watch Aaron was at the BP Pulse Arena. I think it was in Birmingham. The one where he got I think got dropped, but he got back up and stopped the guy with the body shot. And I was thinking, fuck, that's one of the best undercard fights that I've watched. But he needs to stop getting like drawn in. Not that I know any more than he does, but he loves a good scrap, doesn't he? I think.
Mate, he
but
does.
no, that's good stuff. But I think I know the answer to this next question based on kind of what we've been talking about. What's the final goal in boxing? How far do you think you can take this? You've got the international Commonwealth title behind you, but what title do you want? What's the final one?
I'm probably gonna give you a bit of a different answer to that.
Yeah,
so if you an answer to your question of in what do you want or what do you want to do, the two things I've always said is as long as I'm successful and happy, that's enough for me.
What do you class as successful? Digging into this answer.
You are. No one's really followed it up. But successful, I'll let the viewers guess that.
Yeah.
I'll let the viewers guess that.
Fair enough, mate. That's fair enough.
But as long as I'm happy in the sport and I've got things to show for it.
Yeah.
You know, whether that be titles, you know, obviously if I was to answer it normally, I would love to win the British title, and I believe I can do that within the next 18 months.
That's awesome.
So that's the goal. Again, boxing's a game full of politics and road blockages. So things have to align. It's not just a case of like, right, I'm gonna go fight for it, because if that was the case, I'd fight for it next week. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You have to
wait for things to align.
Yeah, right? You have to, like, you know, make yourself mandatory and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, for me, as long as I'm successful and I'm still happy doing it, then for me it's like I'm complete, and I'm also making the people around me happy.
Yeah, of course. I think you're on the right path, mate. Like I said, you picked up a title already. How old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
27.
27, you're still at a good age.
Still young.
Yeah, like you said before we started, you're good looking.
I'll let you say that.
You're able to. You're able to still articulate yourself well.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, like you said, you just want to be able to be content and happy with your life. And I'm glad that you've said you're not attaching that to, I've got to have that world title, or because sometimes that can come with unnecessary pressure as well, right?
And it's not only that, but it's this is in any walk of life, and it's like something that I found, especially with, you know, certain people who I hang around with, and just like little things that I pick up. If people set goals are amazing. I'm goal driven, but when people set goals and they're so set on them goals, if they don't come true, they don't know where to go after that.
Yeah.
Do you know, so me putting too much pressure or saying things like that can probably cause too much harm.
Yeah.
In the long run. So, as I say, for me, one step at a time, one fight at a time. I'm in a fantastic position now that I've got that. And yeah, you know, I've just got to see where I end up.
Have you got to defend that a couple of times now, the Commonwealth belt?
I'll be honest, I don't actually know.
Yeah.
I don't actually know. The bloke who did the show, I kind of said, like, look, what can we do for this? You know, he said, we'll definitely be able to get a title, and it took a very, very long time for it to get over the line. You know, numerous opponents, people not wanting the fight. I'll go back to what I said about, you know, with their managers and trainers, fighters probably weren't ready for the notice and the weight, and all these things come into the factor. So, but as you say, we eventually got it over the line and got it booked in, and, you know, showed up, performed. Okay. So I got that, put myself in a good position. A couple of offers have come in, or questions. There's rumours as well floating around about what's next, but
anything you can share?
Nah, not yet.
Come on, Brad. Give us an exclusive.
Only because every time I've done that, it doesn't happen.
Nah, I get that.
The amount of times I've heard a whisper and I've been like, told someone straight away, and then
Are
it's
they
like,
exciting whispers, would you say? Or?
yes. I mean, I'm in people's mouths, so
Yeah,
so
that's what you want.
that's only good for me, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
but as I say, we'll see where we're at.
Yeah.
As I've said prior, I'm dedicated to what I do, so I don't need one of these. Oh, I need 8-10 weeks. You know,
Yeah.
I'm always
Would you always
a
say
small
you're
time away.
pretty much in, if you were given 2 or 3 weeks notice for a fight, would you say you're, and it's someone who's beatable,
100%.
for yourself, is it
Well,
someone
I actually took my fight last October. I said yes to that on 3 weeks' notice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you do keep in shape
Yeah,
and on
yeah,
weight
yeah,
and...
yeah. And then he ended up being the one who pulled out, so it was a bit like, oh, well.
Oh, jeez.
But as part of me saying yes, we said if he pulls out, I'm still on the card,
Oh, so you stayed on the card?
and that's how it worked. So
Okay,
yeah,
get you the rounds in,
exactly,
right? So,
exactly. So, and then we went through the whole drama of a further 2 opponent changes. But
yeah.
as you say, everything for a reason, and all it does is build up that
resilience.
up,
Yeah, no,
up here.
definitely.
Yeah,
So obviously we spoke about you having the a pressure style of boxing growing up, and obviously now you're at the Ingle Gym, which, like I said, is a lot more kind of footwork based, very technical. Doesn't mean you still can't be a pressure fighter, but what type of fighter, what type of boxer would you say that you are now stylistically?
I'd say like a box fighter, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely someone who can adapt as well. Like if you were to watch me spar, I'd say most of my spars I can come across as a pressure fighter, but then there'll be someone who can be bigger than me, and all of a sudden I've got to go back to boxing because I've realised that style wouldn't gel or wouldn't be in my best interest against that opponent, and I think that's what kind of helps me become a better fighter, being able to adapt, read what's in front of me, read what's coming back, and how I can adjust on how the fight's going or how the spar's going. So
I think adaptability in the pro game.
you don't want to be
is
too
a big thing.
predictable.
Yeah, no, definitely. And having watched boxing a lot over the years, I think the one thing that kind of rings true, and something like, for example, the Conor Ben and Prograis fight that just happened. Prograis spoke about all the different injuries that he had leading up to the fight, and one thing they say is that boxers are always carrying injuries, and by the time they get in there, it's a case of being able to adapt, getting through it.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, doing what you got to do to get the win.
Fingers crossed and go.
Exactly, mate. But have you been reasonably lucky in that sense? Have you kept injury free?
So I've had a couple of injuries, and touch wood, nothing too detrimental. But I was training for a fight. It must have been a couple of years ago now, and I think it was about 4 weeks before, maybe 3 or 4 weeks before. I was sparring, perforated my eardrum. Yeah. Now, when you do that,
Sparring, sorry, you said.
in sparring, yeah.
Shit.
So in that, it's one of those injuries that you have to just let heal yourself. But I've still got to train. So I trained, slept, walked, everything with like a constant earplug in. So I had that. My hands have been banged up a little bit, but nothing major. But in terms of like your bad injuries, as I said, touch wood, I've been lucky in the sense of I've been all right. But I think that's down to like me like looking after myself. Like I get massages every week.
Recovery plays a huge part.
Yeah, so it's not just the case of I'm lucky from that. I do the things outside of the ring that help aid that.
Yeah, I think that plays just
helps.
a bigger
It
part,
helps,
mate.
yeah,
It
trust
does.
me.
Like, I'm getting into my 30s, and if there's one thing I neglected, it was recovery. It was stretching, and yeah, I've got so many little niggles now. It's ridiculous. It's only now that I've started to value that extra 5 to 10 minutes stretching, your cold plunges, and that type of stuff, which genuinely makes all these different things make a little difference. Those little percentages.
Boxing's a percentage game, and it's
how
like
can you get those 1% from
it's
all
like
these different places? Yeah.
I mean, even probably for the last, God knows how long, but I'll go to bed, no strip, blue light blockers, and like you say, when I see people do it, I thought, oh, nice, rubbish. But
You criticise at first, right, until you do it, and
until you get in, and it's like I'm the same with like my massages. So like I get a massage every week,
yeah,
and at the time I think, oh, I don't really need it.
yeah,
Is it? Nah. And then it's like you don't get it for a couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden you're like,
start noticing.
Maybe I should have got it. You know, and then it's harder when you do get one because you actually are battered rather than just keeping your body constantly.
You just mentioned nose strips. Have you ever slept with mouth tape before?
I'm scared I wouldn't wake up.
Do you know what? I'll be honest. I tried it a few times. I did wake up feeling more refreshed.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think now the only reason that I try and do it when I remember, to be fair,
Yeah.
because I think it encourages you more to like breathe in and out through your nose and stops you becoming like a mouth breather. So there's a lot of athletes that do it. I think it was footballer Haaland who's quite known for doing it. And it's strange. One, you don't wake up with like bad breath. You may well in a lot of mornings, but yeah, it's really weird. I just felt like I'd had a better quality sleep than perhaps I'd had before. So yeah, give it a try. Let me know.
They've the strips have definitely made like a difference because, like you said,
The nose strips.
yeah, like, especially like after sparring,
It's just opening up the.
yeah, just open up. And I mean, from the amateurs, I've had each nostril cauterized. God knows how many times.
What does that mean? You've had it cauterized?
It stops like bleeding, stops your nosebleeds.
Ah, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know you could get that.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
You used to get a lot of nosebleeds.
Yeah. Like I could literally like be flicked.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Do you know what the mad thing is? I had, I think it was 32, 33 amateurs, not a single like nosebleed for some reason. And well, my nose is big, but for some reason, I never used to get any nosebleeds. Last amateur fight I had, the kid was shorter than me. His head came up, boom. I came down, top of his head went boom, fucking nose just splattered everywhere. Like honestly, I was just covered in it. And yeah, it's my last fight I had.
Yeah. So
it's
always the
what
way,
a way to go out, right? You've built yourself I don't know whether we call it a foundation now in the pro game because you're really kicking on. You got a title. There's a lot of young professionals turning over now from the amateur game. What advice would you give them, whether it be from a mindset that they need, what they need to be prepared for from a physical standpoint? What advice would you have for those lads turning over so they know what to expect and how they can be best prepared?
There's no rush.
Yeah.
Especially if you're young. Get someone who you know you can trust and who's experienced. There's loads of points that I could probably like reel off, but you know when they just don't come to your head straight away.
Of course, mate. Yeah.
And enjoy it, like most importantly. But with that, be prepared to sacrifice it. Like so, like what I was a bit like when I first started, and I've been used to sacrifice my whole life. Like through the amateurs, you know, my dad was the parent. Like if one of the lads was having like a birthday party when we were in school, and it was like if it involved like quad biking or something like that, you ain't going there, mate.
Couldn't risk it. Yeah.
No, you ain't going. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, and then it's like you say, you know, you miss out on the standard function, like family functions, occasions, etc., etc. So you just have to be prepared for that sacrifice and don't use that as an excuse. Like, do you know what? The old me would have said, unfortunately. It's not unfortunate because I'm very, very fortunate to be in this position. And I remind myself that when I walk through the gym every day. I chose to do this. You know, that's what you have to tell yourself. Like, you're choosing to do this. So don't you then be the person who ruins it.
Yeah.
You know, so, but that along with, like you say, just give it your all. Don't cut corners and make sure you've got someone who you can trust, like to either guide you, to give you advice. And I think they'll do all right.
Yeah, it's a key thing that I wanted to ask because I'm seeing more and more lads turn over now, and sometimes people don't know fully what they should be expecting or what they're going to have to go through, right?
Again, though, that's just down to the whole social media thing, you know, because they see Joe Bloggs doing it, they think, I can do it. And it's not like that. You know, as I said, like, it's a business. You need to understand, like, the business side of it. You know, like, people go from fighting as an amateur for free, for, like, nothing. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you've either, if you're fortunate to get a promotional deal, then happy days. Like, you're off to a very good start. grab it with both hands and don't ruin it. But if you do it like the small hallway, be prepared to graph your nuts. You have to put yourself out there. You have to, you have to do the rounds with your tickets. You have to be the person who people want to come and see, come and support, and and nothing happens overnight.
Yeah.
So be prepared for ups and downs. Maybe more downs, to be honest.
I think that's great grounded advice. I think, especially when
it's honest.
It is, mate. Yeah, no, 100%. And do you know what? I think social media is such a key thing now. And I say this to a lot of people. Obviously, it was a long time ago that I was amateur now, but I could hit the pads now and put up a little clip of me for 30 seconds, looking maybe shit up for 30 seconds, and people, oh, you look class, mate, you can get back in there. So what you don't know is I'll step in there for a spar, 30 seconds into that spar, mate. I think anyone can look good on the pads, and anyone can put up a little clip and look good on social media, but it's a whole different ball game when you get put in there. And sometimes I almost fooled myself. Oh, maybe I've still got it. Get in there, spar, get shit kicked out of me. I'm like,
I've still got it.
I'll leave it to the real boxers now. But you just mentioned the promotional side of things. What's that looking like on your front at the moment? Who's leading the way for you on that? And is that something you're looking to do going forwards in terms of landing those big kind of promotional contracts with some of the big promoters?
Yeah. I mean, I would love to have like a big promoter behind me, but in the same breath, I need to make sure that it's the right one and it's the right choice for me. So, as I said, just got to wait and see what kind of presents itself, what fights are available, and, where I can land myself more importantly. But for me, all I can do now is stay in the gym, stay ready, because you never know when that opportunity can come, and there'd be nothing worse than screaming out for what I want, and then when it gets presented, I go, oh, I'm not ready, So, as I said, for me, it's just about staying ready, doing what I need to do, and when that opportunity does come, I'll grab it with both hands.
Yeah, just keep ticking those boxes.
Yeah,
yourself,
that's all you can do.
That's all you can do in the moment, and then the opportunities will present themselves. But no, that's good stuff, mate. I think we've come to the end of the podcast. I think that was a really good chat, mate, and it was good to find out a little bit more about your background.
We've just touched the surface.
We have, mate, we have. And like I said, I've been admiring you from a distance for quite a while. I could see that you started to make a bit of noise, and I looked at your record. I didn't realise it was as impressive as it was. 10 knockouts and 15 wins.
I'll just touch on it briefly.
Yeah,
you talk about issues and injuries, anything like that. So in my opinion, I had the best start to my professional career. So the first 13 months, I think I had 7 fights.
Yeah, well, that is quick.
Yeah. I was busy, I was active, I was climbing the rankings, and then the following year I had an issue with my medical. That then kept me out for 4 or 5 months through no fault of my own. Then come back. And then at that time, I wasn't really living the life, so I used to fight and then be fat or put weight on. Crashed the weight, and then it was like, or then I was rushing into a fight that didn't really mean a lot.
So you went through the learning curve.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, of course. Boxing is a game where you do learn on the job, And I currently stay with 2 young lads who are pros in the gym. They're 18, and I wish I was them, essentially, and I had a me telling them, because
what you're telling them is invaluable, right?
Yeah.
You're getting them years ahead of,
and they actually take it on board. And,
are they pro lads? Are
18? Yeah. So for them, when they get to my age, they'll be, God knows where they'll be, And I just wish I had that, a bit of a younger age, but with that. Everything for a reason, and the only thing I can do now is excel and push on from that, and just keep doing what I'm doing. Basically,
you're bang on the right path at the minute, doing the right things, and I think that's all you can do. Like you said, all these little 1%, they all start adding up over time, and I can see that you've got yourself a good routine, good structure, good people around you, all these different things, mate. I've seen it too often to know that it makes a difference.
Yeah,
and that it does work. just like being around the wrong crowd, that has its detrimental effect in itself. So
you are your circle, aren't you?
Exactly, mate. Nothing rings truer than that, I think. So yeah, no, I appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, most importantly, mate.
Yeah, not at all, mate. It's been a pleasure. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do in the next next year or two. I'll have to come along to one of your next fights as well. And yeah, looking forward to you picking up more titles and hopefully that British title, as you mentioned as well. So yeah, so make sure you keep an eye out for Brad Goldsmith. They can follow you on social media and whatnot as well, right? You're active on that. And yeah, keep a very, very close eye because he's got a very good record so far. And sounds like there's some exciting news coming out with some
hopefully
scheduled fights, fingers crossed. And onwards and upwards from here, right? So, Brad, thank you very much, mate.
Thank you very much, man.
Very much appreciated. And thank you for watching Below the Belt podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe the video, all that kind of stuff. And thank you for watching.